Hey, what's going on? Thank you for being here at the birth of my DBD channel. So let's make this a good one. I'm Spiral Ascendant, and I'm going to be addressing you in this video as though you've never played this game. So we're going to grow together. We're going to move forward together. That's what this channel kind of is more a little bit beginners based. Maybe I'll change platforms from console and PS4 to a PC one day. Maybe you'll come join me in a game of DBD until then. So my goal is the gap of casual understanding with the competitive meta and a dash of my own opinions and experience. So I want anybody on a beginner level to within 2 weeks be a serious good player, no matter which side they pick, survivor or killer. This is an older video that has Hex Room, which we'll talk about in a bit, but I wanted to kind of showcase that to older, to newer people. I came out at a funny time when like Oni, which is the second newest killer, was brand new and now feels like old hat. And Hex Room was still kicking. Now it's totally different. Leary's, which is still a map, just totally like a PS2 game, and now it looks amazing. I haven't been here for the longest, but I've seen some of the most influential changes here. So right now we're going to see the effects of Hex Ruin. It's harder for you to hit your skill checks with Hex Ruin. Normally you'd have a slice of this circle's going to pop up that you could hit good and great skill checks on, and with Hex Ruin you can only hit that small red spot, which is a great. If you don't, it just regresses your gen, and it does it the whole time. So this perk is a hex perk. Hex perks are tied to totems like this one. This one's not on fire. It's not lit. That means if I break it, nothing really happens. But if I break one that has fire on it, it's lit, then you're going to break whatever hex perk is attached to it. Sorry if I'm going a little fast, but I'm really trying to catch you up on what you're watching here. In my opinion, repair time and repair on gens is the most important thing for Survivor. So getting rid of Hex Ruin is a big deal. I know that totems are in and around the outside of the perimeter of this particular map, so I'm going to spend a lot of time walking the entire outside until I find all the totems. Hopefully I find one that's lit up. That's really all that's going on here. But without it, repair times on gens are going to be absolutely brutal. It's going to be a killer. So if you can get there it is right there, lit up on fire, hopefully Hex Ruin. If you can get 3 people on 3 different generators or 2 different generators, maybe 2 on one on the other, and one person gets the killer's attention and can run them between structures and in and about structures, keeping things between them and hitting them with pallets, then they can loop them, and they can ultimately waste the killer's time. So what I was saying, repair time is the most #1 thing for a survivor to be doing. Killer should absolutely be focusing on their time and focusing on what they can do to efficiently use their time to keep us off of generators. So we just saw that hag pop up. Hag's power is whenever you run across one of the traps they lay out, she can have 10. It's a little triangle on the ground. It's very hard to see, especially on a map like this. You will pop up a clone. It'll stare at you, showing you showing the hag kind of where you've been, and she can teleport to that clone. So right there, I ran past the clone. I ran past. She popped up, and she ran the opposite way for some reason of where I was going. What I broke is Hex Ruin, because now we don't have the red around the circle, so we have kind of normal skill checks, although those still seem really small. It's kind of funny. But back to the looping thing. You can loop just running away from the killer but keeping them at a kind of safe distance, and then there's blending or stealth. There's haha, you can't find me, can't see me, and there is a huge debate over kind of which is better. I highly suggest you kind of learn both, but I will say this: looping's better for a couple of reasons. #1, it actually gets you points, and stealth doesn't. #2, looping actually ties the killer's time up, whereas stealth kind of escapes you from the killer. The killer doesn't see you. They see you not on the gen. You're not willing to be chased to loop, because if you get chased and you're not looping, you're gonna die. So the killer can't find you. They're just gonna run off, and that doesn't tie the killer up. Your goal is somebody has to tie the killer up. Now, if all 4 of you can moderately loop, because it's not that hard, it's much more difficult to know all the paths that you're supposed to know. Once you figure out a couple of your paths, though, you feel very safe, and you can identify what's safe and what's not. Thanks, Pee-Weezy1, for that little back rub there. You can see what's safe, what's not, and you can adequately run the killer around. If your team's good at it, it's very difficult for the killer to do much about it unless their build is, you know, strong. That being said, I do believe stealth has its place and should be played, especially maybe while looping. This is a spot where you can't see it, but I've got scratch marks from running. If I hadn't had those, Hag wouldn't have seen me right there. So here we're running. I'm running Hag around this. We just have a, you know, second gen go off, so 3 left. Let's see how much of my time, or how Hag's time, I can waste at a rock. Probably more if I didn't run face first to a stump. Look back and see Hag. Drinking her own blood, coming after me. I would think she'd come around me. Oh, there she is. She just waited on one side. So I'm still going. Pallet's already been dropped. I get to slide over. She didn't break it. I don't know where she went. I should have kept my camera kind of back. But, again, you know, not perfect play. This is older and, like I said, just, you know, kind of casual. But here she is right here. I'm on the boat. Pretty safe place to be if you know how to run it. Watch me run, slap into her, though. The next few videos that I release, I really want them to be focused on looping, why looping is a worst case scenario for a killer, and why it's the best case scenario, in my opinion, for a survivor. It's the most fun. It's what you want to do. So we're also going to have some beginner perks, some of the perks that would be the absolute best to get from the beginning of the game onwards. Some of them are just, you'll use them forever, and you'll want to know about them. So I'm going to make some videos for that as well. And I want to just put this out there that I want a fair game for both Survivor and Killer. I came to this game wanting to play Killer. I play more Survivor now because I enjoy looping a lot. But, you know, I want the game to be winnable on both sides. It sucks whenever you're playing a game and you don't feel like you can win on either side, you know? I don't know, I feel like I've also been kind of running my mouth at you this whole time, but we're basically just repairing, and this is the kind of part of the game that you want it to be boring. You're listening for a heartbeat. You're waiting to see if something comes up, but hopefully someone else has the killer tied up. The bottom left shows that I'm the only one that's injured. We have all of our teammates left. No one's dead. Hopefully someone has that Hag running around, and she's on the other side of the map. We hear on the heartbeat that she's not on the other side of the map, but we did get the gen done, so that's great and hilarious timing by this Hag. Hag runs a little bit slower than a lot of other killers. Or other killers run at 115, so that's percentage, whereas you run 100%. So Hag is a little bit slower. You can kind of turn minor obstacles into major obstacles for her. Oh god, there's a mud clone. Still running around here. She should have hit me right there. I don't know why she wouldn't go for a swing. Maybe she just didn't see me. That's another thing that's kind of crazy about playing Killer that you won't notice playing just Survivor. It's harder to see things than it looks. So it's very easy to crouch near a tree stump if they're out of line of sight and make a cool stealth play. People get real, you know, they feel themselves as they did this, but honestly it's not that hard to do it. And it's frustrating if you're the killer because it's seemingly people have disappeared sometimes, you know. Speaking of frustrating, unfortunately, this poor Hag didn't make it. But I just wanted to kind of be a lesson that there's so many times where that Hag was chasing and it was fine to chase for a minute, but could have chased for maybe, I don't know, 10 seconds. Give yourself a small timer, hum a tune, something, and then after that, break chase no matter what. Go patrol your generators, because there were multiple generators that were done right there, uninterrupted, no problem. And then, you know, as you can tell, you get to the end, you haven't got anybody down, you haven't had a good time. So, any rate, Spiral out. Thank you for watching.